The former governor of Virginia, a Republican named Bob McDonnell, has been found guilty on multiple corruption charges. So what happened is a man named Johnny R. Williams Sr., who was the CEO of a company called Star Scientific, showered McDonnell and his family with gifts in return for special treatment from the governor. So what specifically did McDonnell and his family get? Quote, a silver Rolex watch, golf clubs, Louis Vuitton shoes, and $15,000 to help pay for the McDonnell's daughter's wedding. So that's a total of $135,000 in gifts. Now, I should be clear, the things that I listed there, I don't think they add up to $135,000, but it was those things and then other gifts that in total added up to $135,000, including just cash, just like giving cash. The clearest example of bribery and corruption you could ever imagine. Now, whenever we talk about corruption in politics or money in politics and bribery, it's always the legal kind of bribery. I mean, our entire political system is run on that foundation. Of course, people in the mainstream will say that what I'm saying is BS and it's wrong and that's not how the system functions. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just go look. I mean, Open Secrets, they have a website and all they do is detail the amount of money and political contributions that comes from different corporations and different rich people and goes to the politicians and all these different special interests that get their claws into the political system. And you can see based on news stories that the corporations and the people who give more money to the politicians end up getting what they want in terms of legislation. So we really don't have a democracy anymore. The system we have is more of an oligarchy or a kleptocracy, which is government of, by, and for the rich. There's this tiny ruling class on top, and they've bought and owned the political system, so they get what they want, and the rest of us get fucked over. So that's usually the conversation that we have when we talk about corruption in our political system. This case is interesting and slightly different. So what you're going to get from people in the mainstream media, especially a channel like CNBC, which likes to pretend like there's any corruption always gets weeded out, like they'll point at Bernie Madoff and go, see, the system works because we got Bernie Madoff. And what they'll tell you is, see, oh my goodness, the U.S. justice system prevails again because we were able to catch this one corrupt politician, Bob McDonnell, and at least we can all rest assured now that the most corrupt politicians are not in the system. We have a way of weeding them out. Now, why is that 100% not true? Quote, while Virginia's lax gifts law allows elected officials to accept unlimited gifts even from lobbyists and those with business before the state, McDonnell was accused of failing to fully disclose what he and his wife received. So, that's why he's guilty. He's not guilty because he took the gifts and he took the money in the first place. He's guilty because he failed to report the gifts and the money and the Rolex and the golf clubs and the credit card and all this stuff. And the other crime that he was found guilty of, get this, he applied for loans and he didn't disclose on the loan form the gifts that he got from the CEO of the company. So this is what you're not going to hear if you listen to CNN. You're not going to hear this if you listen to the nightly news. They're just going to say, former governor found guilty of corruption charges, and here's his punishment. He appealed the case, yada, yada. All right, moving on, next story. They're not going to tell you, wait. What he did was actually perfectly legal, except that he didn't disclose that he got the gifts. Now, let's stop here and let me ask you a very basic question. Should that be the reason why he gets locked up or why he's found guilty? Because he didn't disclose the information? Or should we set up a system where him taking the stuff in the first place was illegal? Because that's the implication everybody's giving, and that's what everybody thinks is going on here if they don't read the details and the nuance of the story. If they don't get to paragraph 7 of the article, they'll just read the first, few lines or first paragraph, and then they'll move on to the next thing. But if you get all the way down to paragraph 7 in the articles about this, they tell you, actually, it was totally legal what he did. He just didn't disclose it, so that's why he's in trouble now. No, a story like this is the perfect example of why we need a constitutional amendment, why we need Wolfpack, why we need to get money out of politics, why we need to do clean elections, why we need to get rid of corporate personhood. Because they're admitting, yeah, pretty much all the politicians are doing what he's doing, just that he was so stupid that he forgot to report it and he would have been able to get away with legalized bribery. And believe you me, for all these other politicians and establishment figures who would wave their finger and say, how dare Bob McDonnell do what he did, go look at their campaign contribution list and their donor list. Okay, I mean, politicians in both parties, obviously pretty much all Republicans and some Democrats, they take money from ExxonMobil, then boom, lo and behold, ExxonMobil gets a $4 billion corporate welfare check every single year. How did that happen? Walmart's another one. They buy out Congress or buy off Congress, and then they turn around and get over $4 billion in a corporate welfare check every single year. The big banks get $83 billion from the government every single year. Why? Because the lobbyists and the donors end up giving money to the politicians, and they do the bidding of the big banks. I mean, this stuff, it's not rocket science to figure this stuff out, man. In fact, it's laid out in front of you pretty straightforward. If you give money to the politicians, they'll do whatever you want. And Bob McDonnell, while what he did was wrong, here's the reality. He's the fall guy for an entire system that's just as corrupt as he is.